goals. If you're new here, this is a safe space for like-minded individuals who prioritize wellness. Why is my camera clicking? Okay, guys, so today we're going to be discussing why you should really have mercy and grace for yourself when you make bad decisions and just learn from them versus beating yourself up, okay? So I'm going to give you some coping mechanisms for when you do fail, for how to not self-sabotage once you do fail and make a mistake, okay? And I'm getting these from the book Why Failure is Never Final, okay? All right, so when you do fail, when you're finally ready to acknowledge that failure of any kind is never beyond redemption and repair, there is always a reason for hope. So when you do fail, okay, and you start to see the silver lining in it all, like, oh, this didn't happen to me, this happened for me. Oh, God was trying to teach me something. Oh, I could have really avoided this great catastrophe if I would have just paid attention. Okay, now I know better, so I'm gonna apply the knowledge and do better. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do, move forward, not backward. So when failure knocks us down, we could choose to move forward or backward. The key word here is choose. Failure is not finality, but rather a learning opportunity. If you can apply what you learned, you've transformed a blunder into a blessing, a disadvantage into an advantage. Like most people, I've failed more times than I care to remember. When my wife and I were just starting a center, we had dozens of mistakes involving finances, payroll, office leasing, on and on. But there was a greater purpose and reason why we kept going. They had a mission. They believed that God had a purpose for our lives to call us to something meaningful and significant. So again, when you're going through life, as soon as you fail, try to clean it up quick. Try to move forward fast versus sitting and dwelling and drowning in sorrow for, oh my God, I can't make payroll. Oh my God, I can't make payroll. Okay, but what are you going to do? Try to come up with a quick solution. If you can't, try to communicate that. If not, you're going to have to take the scrutiny that you get from not being able to pay people. This is just a random example, but nonetheless, don't beat yourself up. You're not a failure. You're learning. And once you learn, you're able to apply that knowledge and not repeat that lesson. Okay? So 2, come clean about your mistakes. The best way to move past and learn from failure is to address them openly and honestly. Okay? So the best way for you to move forward is for you to be like, okay, what role did I play in this? Because if you're stuck in victim mode where you're like, oh, this happened to me. Why did this happen to me? I can't believe this happened to me. They did this to me. Baby, you're never going to grow and elevate because you're so busy pointing the finger. Point the finger back at you. And I'm telling you, you will level up, you will grow, and you will learn from the situation. And I know the ego and the pride is hard to accept the fact that your life got harder or you went through something traumatic because of your own actions, but that's okay. That's leveling up, that's growing, that's what makes you mentally strong. And now nobody can use your weaknesses against you because you accepted them yourself, okay? So once you come clean to yourself about your mistakes, then it's easier said than done because all of us would prefer to avoid painful topics and hide the truth about ourselves and our troubles, especially the ones we brought on ourselves or on the ones we love. But addressing the truth about our mistakes begins the process of finding freedom. I often remind myself and my counseling clients that you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. It's something about just accepting the truth of a situation that just truly sets you free. Forgive yourself. In times of failure, we tend to heap guilt and shame upon ourselves. As we lie awake in the wee hours of the morning, our own perceived offenses grow in our minds to monstrous proportions. They cease being about what we have done and become the unfortunate evidence of who we are, horrible human beings. Okay, you are not the bad thing that you did. You made a mistake. Now it's time to move forward from it. So let's use the payroll example. Okay, you didn't meet payroll this month. You overspent on certain things. Okay, now you didn't realize what you were doing. Now you know better. Forgive yourself and move better moving forward. Like what comes out of beating yourself up? What comes out of negative self-talk? Like it really is that serious. So when you make a mistake, do not be like, oh, I'm so stupid. Do not talk to yourself like that. Like you have to be so careful how you talk to subconsciously. You're programming yourself to believe what you're saying. You're not stupid. There's nothing wrong with you. Everybody makes mistakes. You made a mistake. And get away from people who even make you feel like that about yourself. Because the moment you admit your failures and you cut yourself some slack and give yourself some compassion, it's like it motivates you to make better choices. Because it's like, okay, you can hold yourself accountable, but then be like, okay, I understand why that happened. and it won't happen again. Like, just talk to yourself, love on yourself, don't be so cruel. That tough love stuff does not work when it comes to like really reprogramming your subconscious mind. Because when I say reprogram your subconscious mind, in childhood, certain beliefs were programmed into you for you to believe that when you do bad things, when you make mistakes, you're not worthy, you're not valuable, you're not good enough. And that's not true. That's simply not true. So you feed that belief when you do negative self-talk. So that's why it's important to give yourself compassion when you fail versus shaming yourself, because you've been shamed enough in your life, okay? Avoid self-sabotage. Make choices today that will ensure a better tomorrow. So consistently make wise decisions about how you live day to day and moment by moment, and that will take you a giant step closer towards a healthy, satisfying future. Resist the urge to find comfort in food or drink. This, of course, is one of the most prevalent means of self-sabotage. Substance misuse or abuse, food, alcohol, drugs, helpful at the moment. May be helpful at the moment, but it's extremely harmful in the long haul. Push past procrastination. Procrastination is one of the most common and easily rationalized forms of self-sabotage. Okay, so do not self-sabotage. Now that you've taken accountability for what you did, you see what you learned in the situation, you gave yourself self-compassion. Now don't start to try to comfort yourself to the point where like you're enabling yourself, okay? Like, don't start doing substances, overeating, like procrastinating. Like, no, like learn the lesson and move forward, okay? Shun perfectionism. Perfectionists are people who expect themselves to always perform well, perfectly. They adopt an obsessive preoccupation with doing everything right. Since any mistake results in a negative response, perfectionists spend a great deal of time and energy trying to avoid doing anything wrong. Perfectionism can operate in two ways, both extremely destructive. Perfectionism can operate in two ways, both extremely destructive. Like my client Chantel, you may find yourself going to any length to excel in what you do, spending great amounts of time and energy, shortchanging your own health and peace of mind to achieve at the highest level. You may become so focused on performance that you lose sight of those around you, including family and friends. Perfectionists may become so focused on performance that they lose sight of those around them, including family and friends. So it's like, ain't nobody perfect, and you be so busy trying to be perfect, you won't even live. Like, you won't even give yourself the space to experience life. Of course, be strategic, but it's nobody perfect, okay? So get that out of your head. Stop thinking that there's gonna come a day in your life where you just don't make a mistake. So if you're having troubles overcoming perfectionism, identify the underlying beliefs that drive your needs for perfection. Maybe you grew up with impossible to please parents, or with overachieving siblings, or as a part of a strict religious community. Often just realizing the roots of your perfectionism will jumpstart the process of overcoming it. Again, it's from childhood. Something inside of you does not feel comfortable being human. Being human meaning you're going to make mistakes. Of course, you're going to learn from them, but something inside of you, something in your childhood, they probably shamed you or were too harsh when you made mistakes, and that made you feel like you had to be perfect. Or when you make mistakes, you beat yourself up the way your parents beat you up. Accept imperfections in others. Practicing compassion for other people is good training for learning to show compassion for yourself. But I've always been naturally compassionate to people, but try, like, when you hear people go through things, instead of being like, well, what did you do? Try to just be present, and show compassion to them. Have mercy for them, because everybody's struggling with something different. And it's easy when you practice compassion for other people, it's easy for you to show yourself compassion. Retrain your brain. Perfectionists have become conditioned to think in terms of black or white, good or bad, all or nothing. If you've learned unhealthy mental patterns, you can learn new and healthy ones. Again, reprogram your subconscious mind by speaking life into yourself. I have an affirmations and somatic healing ebook with journal prompts for only $9 on Amazon Kindle. The link is in my bio on my YouTube channel. Okay, if you're struggling with reprogramming your subconscious mind so that you can create the reality that you actually want to live, because you manifest your thoughts. So if you think you're not worthy, your life is going to be like less than. If you don't operate from a place of an abundance, you're going to attract at the level that you think you deserve. So rewire your subconscious mind, change the quality of your life, okay? Listen to your thoughts. Beware of those automatic thoughts that shout you're not good enough, you're going to blow it. Identifying those thoughts is a step towards countering them with more reasonable ones. Okay, so whenever you get those intrusive thoughts that you're not good enough, that because you made a mistake, you have to combat that with, I'm human, I learned from my mistakes, like I'm more than good enough. You know, even if you want to stroke your ego a bit, like I'm smart, I'm kind, I'm compassionate, I'm, you know, whatever you need to do to get yourself out of that negative loop, like do it. Receive compliments. If your boss, a coworker, a friend offers a sincere compliment, resist the urge to minimize or deflect. Say thank you. Without the but will do just fine. Strive for excellence, not perfection. Excellence means doing your best and holding yourself to high standards while realizing that perfectionism is unattainable. Recognize your self-worth. Most people tie their sense of value to performance and accomplishment. You'll gain freedom if you can learn to accept that real worth is based on inner qualities, okay? So again, when you feel like that about you, you feel like you're worthy, you feel like you're valuable, you're kind to yourself, you show up for yourself, you learn from your mistakes, but you still have compassion for yourself. You have a high sense of self-worth, and subconsciously, like, people can feel that off of you and you'll attract what you are. So the way you treat you, other people will treat you that way. But your worth can't be tied to things that can be taken from you. Your worth has to be tied to things that no one can ever take from you. So like my worth is tied to the fact that I'm kind, that I'm generous, that I'm, you know, I'm considerate, that I show up for people in times of need, that I'm a creation of God. Like God chose for me to be here. So I'm valuable for simply being a creation of God. You can't feel valuable for external things. Like I'm valuable because I got these Louis slides on. I'm valuable because I got this Rolls Royce. Like, because when the Rolls Royce and the Louis slides are gone, do you really feel like you're valuable? Do you? And you will be tested in those ways. So you got to know it's not on you, it's in you. But if you don't know it's in you, and you've been programmed to just think bad about yourself when life hits you, I mean, it's like it's going to be worse. That you're going to think it's worse than what it is, because it's almost like you're reliving big emotions from your childhood. But it's a chance for growth. When this happens, whenever this type of stuff happens, I'm telling you, it's a chance for you to unlearn your old behaviors and push yourself to be the best version of you. And I'm telling you, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful transformation. Okay, and banish the inner critic. Perhaps you live at the opposite end of the spectrum and are painfully aware of your innumerable... Why would they put that like that? You're aware of your flaws already. That's because barely a minute goes by when you aren't reminded of them by a relentless critic, your own thoughts. It's as if 2-bit judge has set up court in your mind, handing out harsh verdicts left and right. Do any of the following scenarios sound familiar? You received a mediocre annual review from your boss. Inner critic, you stink at this kind of work and should give up. You offend somebody by a comment you made. Inner critic, you're an insensitive jerk with no social skills. You applied for a loan and discovered that your credit score is poor. You've always been lousy at finances and always will be. Okay? Like, do not talk to yourself like that. Do not beat yourself up. When you make a mistake, give yourself grace. But the only way you can give yourself grace is if you're honest. So like, for example, I had an interaction with a young lady recently, and she offended me, but offense is a choice, and she wasn't trying to. She just was talking freely, and I responded to her in a way where I was offended. And immediately I was like, okay, I hate when I'm defensive. I hate when I come off as defensive, because it's like for so long I had to protect myself that sometimes I'm like, okay, am I doing it? Like, am I doing too much? Am I overreacting? Like, did she mean it? Like, sometimes I have to actually analyze what's happening, because I know I can overreact. And when I did analyze it, which happened, this is in a matter of minutes, I'm like, quickly, I was like, you know what? Let me just stop. Let me just stop and not engage, and give her the benefit of the doubt, you know? But I started to beat myself up, like, you always do that, like, you always overreact. Or 9 times out of 10, I'm not overreacting, but I was made to feel like that. I was shamed for expressing emotions when I was young. So whenever I express myself or I stand up for myself, I question it a little bit. I'm like, should I have done that? Because I wasn't really allowed to speak up for myself in certain environments. So now that I can, I overdo it. So I just stopped, and then later on, me and her end up talking, and we gave each other a hug, and it was fine. It was over in that moment. But I was tempted to shame myself for reacting to her in that way. Like, I got sad, because I'm like, did I do something wrong? I felt like I had done something wrong, but really it was just a simple misunderstanding, and I just didn't feed into it any longer, and I was open. Normally when someone would try to talk to me after a misunderstanding, I wouldn't be open to, like, you know, just like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. Oh, I'm sorry too. Like, I'm more open. Instead of beating myself up, I just want to elevate and grow and just be more open to handling situations better, because I'm not perfect. I'm a human and we all struggle with certain things. So do not be ashamed of the things that you struggle with. Just acknowledge that you're struggling with them, okay? Acknowledge the role you play in your own suffering. Hold yourself accountable. Show yourself compassion. And stop trying to be a perfectionist. When you get those negative thoughts, immediately negate them with something positive. Reprogram your subconscious mind. Go back and love that little kid inside of you that was neglected. You deserve for people to be kind to you. You deserve for people to forgive you when you make mistakes. Now, again, you have limitless grace for yourself. Some people might not want you to have access to their life once you've made certain mistakes, and that's okay. That's the price we pay. You know, that's the price we pay, and we learn our lesson and we move on. But it's no point in beating yourself up over a lesson. Like, if God wanted somebody to be in your life for a lifetime, they would be. So clearly this was just a learning experience, and you move forward. You got this. Tell yourself every day, you got this. You're worthy. You're valuable. You're not the bad thing that you did. You're capable of doing everything amazing. Life is going to get so good for you. Like, God, show me how good life is going to get. Like, I'm on the brink of greatness. Show me how good it's about to get. I believe in myself so much. I believe in you. Like, I love you. You're amazing. You're going to have the best day of your life. Opportunities are constantly coming your way. Like, I like you. I like spending time with you. I care about you. Whatever you need to say to you, say it, you know, and it means something. You might think this is cliche, but it means something. You're starting to develop self-love and a rapport with you where it's like, it's safe to make a mistake over here. I'm still going to love you once you make a mistake. And people hate that. When you have that type of disposition, people think you're arrogant, but in reality, you really love you. And through you loving you, you're able to love other people in totality for who they are. So it makes you all around just better for you and better for other people. So as we heal ourselves, we're better in connection. Have a good night, y'all. I'll be back tomorrow with another video.